This is where, like when I was saying tying earlier, when I was saying like the God's plans, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Jesus. That's God's plan. Then God said to Abraham regarding Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai. From now on, her name will be Sarah. And I will bless her, and I will give you a son from her. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. Kings of nations will be among her descendants. Then Abraham bowed to the ground, but he laughed to himself in disbelief. How could I become a father at the age of 100, he thought. And how can Sarah have a baby when she is 90 years old? So Abraham said to God, may Ishmael live under your special blessing. But God replied, no, Sarah, your wife, will give birth to a son for you. You will name him Isaac, and I will confirm my covenant with him and his descendants as an everlasting covenant. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked. I will make him extremely fruitful and multiply his descendants. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will be confirmed with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year. When God had finished speaking, he left Abraham. Genesis 17:15-22.
When I heard this, I think originally before I was a Christ follower, I used to think, man, that Ishmael got done dirty, right? I mean, it was like none of that was his fault, none of this thing like that. But then now looking at this, it's like I was thinking again, like when you read the Bible, and you don't have a spiritual part of it, it doesn't make any sense at all. Because I've done it and it didn't make any sense at all. When I was in the Marines in boot camp, Bible was one of the only things I could read. So I read the whole thing just to read something other than military knowledge. And I still didn't understand it, but I read it every night because it had good stories, and I wanted to read stories. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like Ishmael didn't get done dirty because there can only be one covenant. He still got blessed many nations, but the covenant is Christ. Everything is foreshadowing of Christ. Just hit my spirit. So there can only be one covenant. He didn't mean to exclude Ishmael. His plan all along, Isaiah, what you just said, was that original plan and that covenant. But because God is so great, even though the humans involved here decided to do their own little weird thing, he didn't punish the offspring for that, and he still blessed them.
Like my brother just said, it was a blessing and a curse because he kind of cursed Ishmael's bloodline because they're not the people of God, but at the same time, he blessed them at the same time because he allowed them to become the father of kings and prosper still. But it just what like we said. He said the humans did what we thought what the human solution was okay. I'm a conceive a child with my servant who's younger and she can bear children, versus listening to God, following His direction. And we, like I said, we all do that in our day-to-day lives when we try to be God, we try to do His word for us when we have no contemplation of what's even possible. That they wasn't considering they could have a child at 90 years old, getting up onto 100 years old. Like that's unheard of. That's not even, that's really impossible, but all things are possible through God, and so yeah, that's kind of how that happened, and it's, if you guys want to go back and look at it, Ishmael's descendants became the those kings, those of many nations. So like I said, from all the way from Persia to Egypt, his descendants were kings, for thousands of years in history.
You see, like, the problem, and this is like something that we are all fighting, and we all can see it in our life, is when Sarai was impatient with her barrenness. She compromised in an area that she, believed for herself that she wanted to hold on to. And in that compromise, you see the treatment of contempt, You see the mistreatment that she treated her servant, that she pushed her servant away and her servant had to flee because she decided to compromise the belief of her promise because she was impatient. We can all kind of see the byproducts of our compromises where we've compromised in our life with our own impatientness, and we've let our compromises equal things in our life that we didn't have to face, yet we've seen God bless us through our compromises, even though we've seen the frustrations of our compromises. That's kind of what I'm seeing so far right now, because especially in 17 through 15, 22, God's not budging. Like, mind you, Abraham's come, listen, give that blessing to my first son, Ishmael. Like, let him be, all that. No, my blessing is going to be confirmed through your son, through your wife, Sarah. I'm going to give y'all a child when y'all are sitting here doubting me this time next year. And that's all that needed to be said. Because then as God finished speaking, he left. God dropped the mic. And at the end of the day, the Lord's will be done. That's why we pray that thy will be done. God's will over our will, because Abraham's will was through Ishmael. Obviously, I'm 100, about to be 100 years old. Let it be through Ishmael. You gave me a son through Ishmael. Thank you. That's Abraham's will at this time. God's will is check in Abraham, letting him know, no, Sarah, your wife, will give birth to a son for you. You will name him Isaac, and I will confirm my covenant with him and his descendants as an everlasting covenant. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked.
Honestly, I'm feeling like a student right now, dude. I just feel God really made this more clear for me, and it's just crazy to see how God is working tonight, because I truly really made it. Because before, I honestly, like Sean said, I was kind of like lost. I was like, man, I don't really get the point, I don't see it yet. Because you sent me that passage yesterday, and we probably would have been searching all around trying to figure out what, we would have been all over the place with this.
God got me. God got you.